All right, hi everybody, how's it going? And welcome to another video. Now, I got another movie review request. So, the movie I'm going to be reviewing today is the 1995 film The City of Lost Children. Now, I remember when this film came out back in 95, and I kind of heard people talk about it, heard people talk about how good it was, how unusual it was, how great the visuals were. However, for whatever reason, I did not end up seeing the film. So when someone decided they wanted me to do a movie review on it, I definitely said yes because it would give me reason to watch this film. So I did watch it, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, when this film came out, Roger Ebert said that he really liked the design and the visuals of this film, but he felt that it was difficult to follow. And I pretty much agree with that. I agree with what he said that it is difficult to follow. However, the design, the set designs, and the visuals are very well done. I mean, it was made in 1995, so there's not a lot of CGI here, and you just don't have a lot of CGI, if any. I'm not sure if there is any. Sometimes I think CGI can work well with practical effects if done in the right way. However, if not done in the right way, yeah, will end up looking kind of cartoonish. But yeah, just the set designs were quite well done. They really were. Now this is a French film, and it is in French, so you can. I've been told you can get a dubbed version of this film. However, French speaking people say that you really have to watch it in French to kind of get the original feel of the film. To really get the true feel of the film, they feel you have to watch it in French. So it is subtitled. Now, there is an American actor in this film, and that's Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman, from what I could tell, I don't believe he's wearing any makeup in this film. Usually, when you see him in movies or TV series, he's usually wearing makeup. Beast from the Beauty and the Beast TV series or Hellboy. However, in this, he's not really wearing any makeup, or at least not much. Not that I could tell. And at this time, he mostly did wear makeup. However, now you see him in shows like Sons of Anarchy, and he's not wearing any makeup. But anyways, yeah, he had to learn his lines in French, from what I understand. He did not have a lot of lines, but he did have to learn French in order to speak his lines. But yeah, the story of this, and there will be spoilers if you haven't seen it, but the story is, basically you have this, I guess they call him a creature. He's sort of a created Frankensteinish type being named Crank, and he has a laboratory that's on an oil rig. He was created, however, because he was created, there was a flaw in the creation where he doesn't have imagination, from what I understand, and he can't dream. So, because he can't dream, he's aging prematurely. That's how they have it in this film. Because he can't dream, he's aging very quickly. So, in order to prevent this aging process, he abducts kids and steals their dreams, extracts their dreams with a dream machine, with this like dream type machine. And that's what he does. One of the kids he steals is the brother of the Ron Perlman character. The Ron Perlman character's name is One in this. And these creatures called the Cyclops, basically these beings with, or these guys with like mechanical eyes and ears, Crank had supposedly created these mechanical eyes and ears, and they look very steampunkish. They have that steampunk kind of appearance to it. And that's the overall appearance of this film, would be in that steampunk style. It's definitely a good example of what steampunk is, but it's darker than your typical steampunk sort of thing. It's definitely darker. And anyways, they abduct these children, bring them to the oil rig where their dreams are extracted. Well, what ends up happening is the Ron Perlman character goes to rescue his brother, but he teams up with a girl by the name of Minette, I believe her name is. And there's another part too where there's this other circus performer who has these like fleas, and these fleas have certain kinds of powers to them. I mean, it was just, certain parts of this were just really strange, like nothing you've seen. And yeah, I definitely felt it was difficult to follow at times. And eventually the whole thing sort of ends where the Ron Perlman character does team up with this guy who's a diver. Well, you find out that the diver is the guy who created Crank. And Crank then turned on his master and threw him overboard into the ocean. And now he, wants his revenge. So he has like explosives. They go to the oil rig. What happens is they do find the brother of the Ron Perlman character. He's in the dream machine, so they take him out. The girl enters this dream machine, and she creates some kind of dreamlike infinite loop that destroys the mind of Crank. And then ultimately what happens is the diver ends up blowing up part of the oil rig. Then I guess like a seabird lands on another part of it, and the whole thing ends up blowing up, including the diver. So the diver ends up getting killed, and so does his creations. So do some of his creations. Anyways, that's the film. Definitely done in a way that you don't see with American films. American films are usually not this surreal. You do have that more with the European films, but yeah, I don't know what it is, but in America, the films usually are not this surreal, except maybe you have some filmmakers that will dabble in that sort of thing a little bit. Probably the closest filmmaker to, this filmmaker would be like a Tim Burton. And interestingly enough, Tim Burton and this filmmaker both got their start in animation. Tim Burton having had worked for Disney. He started his career at Disney. But yeah, there is some similarities between the two. But yeah, as a whole, it was kind of, like I said, kind of difficult to follow. Some people absolutely love this film. Like I said, the visuals are good. Definitely liked it for the visuals and the look of it. It really has that steampunk kind of look. And, especially at that time, there really wasn't anything quite like it. You didn't have anything in America that really went this surreal. Like I said, Tim Burton maybe a little bit. It was just a different way to kind of do a movie. It was a more surrealistic way, kind of like the spaghetti westerns. The spaghetti westerns were a completely different way of doing a western, kind of reinventing it almost in a much more surrealistic way, adding surrealism to the western. When, American westerns, you didn't really think of them as being surrealistic. But yeah, so like I said, definitely had a unique and interesting look to it. Now, one interesting side note is that there was actually a PlayStation video game of this movie made, kind of around the time they were first coming out with PlayStation games. I think the game came out around 97. They came out with City of Lost Children, the PlayStation game. You know, I didn't know the film was that big. I mean, maybe it was bigger than I thought it was, but yes, and some people really do like it. They really like this film a lot. Like I said, I did feel it was difficult to follow. It is subtitled, and I was trying to follow the subtitles as best I could. At some point, I sort of fell off of reading them. Sometimes that happens when I watch foreign films. And then when that happened, the film sort of became a bit more confusing to me once once that had happened. But yeah, if you like films for their visuals, if you like art kind of films, I would definitely consider this to be kind of an art film. Well, for sure, I would call this like an art film. And if you like that kind of movie, you would definitely like this film. But yeah, that's The City of Lost Children. That's all I've got. If you watch this video, as always, I thank you for watching and have a good night.